Yo, Diversity PvP here. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to reset your sprint effectively. Reset sprinting is when you either Wtap, Stap, or Blockhit in between hits to get a fresh sprint. The first hit will always deal 3 blocks of knockback, and every hit after will only deal 1 block, unless you reset sprint. When you use one of these 3 methods, you periodically stop sprinting and then start it back up again. When you do this, you undoubtedly deal more knockback, as you will be consistently dealing 3 blocks of KB. One important thing to note is that you can't simply spam use one of these and expect the same result each time, especially since each technique has their own little twist. To start, let's go over Wtapping. Wtapping is the most used and misused form of reset sprint today. Nowadays, I see players either spamming it and getting comboed, or just timing it entirely wrong and getting comboed. Today, we are going to solve those problems. So, while fighting someone, there is a very short time window in between hits that is considered safe for reset sprinting, meaning you can do so without worrying about being put into a combo immediately. To help emphasize on how important this is, I'm going to teach you how to Wtap offensively and defensively. Now, when I say this, you're probably going to be confused, but let me explain. An offensive Wtap is when you reset your sprint immediately after you see your opponent take damage. This positions you furthest away from your opponent, yet still allows you to hit them. This is only good if you are dealing more KB to them than they are to you. Let's say I fight a leaderboard player, and on the first hit, I Wtap the very millisecond I see him take damage. If I do that, I, myself, would be put into a combo almost immediately. This has to do with momentum, because the leaderboard player would be moving forward faster than I would be, assuming he doesn't reset sprint immediately after the hit as well. And that would translate to him getting the combo started at only the second hit of the trade. To prevent this, you want to do it defensively, in which you delay your Wtap by waiting to do so a little after the hit. You want to nullify the knockback they gave to you, but you also want to deal knockback to them. Waiting longer to Wtap means you have less of a time window to do it. So, logically, you'd want to make your Wtaps shorter while trying to manage your own KB. And that's exactly what I want to talk about next. When people PvP, they only focus on their opponent. But it's important that you pay attention to your own knockback, so you can determine who is taking more of it, which translates to making the decision of Wtapping offensively or defensively. Wtapping is also better against players with lower MS, because they will take knockback sooner than any other player. Next, for block hitting, which is the same exact thing as Wtapping but shorter. When you block hit, it resets your sprint but doesn't completely stop you, but also does it in a shorter time frame. That being said, block hitting is good for taking less KB because you'll be moving forward more often than any other method. This too can backfire because there are times when being too close can put you at a disadvantage, like fighting a low MS player. If a low MS player were to Wtap defensively while I block hit offensively, I will be comboed within the second hit of the trade. If I were to block hit defensively against a defensive Wtap, the effects would be nullified, and the other player and myself would simply trade hits. Just to clarify, block hitting does better against opponents with higher ping ranges because their knockback is more delayed, and due to their stacking hits, it would put you at a disadvantage if you allow them to get distance. If you close the distance with block hits against someone with higher MS than you, your MS would carry you and eventually lead to you comboing them, because your hits would always come in slightly before theirs. You can abuse this. Next, let's talk about S-tapping, which is a lot more scenario-based than any other form of reset sprint. S-tapping is good for translating back hits into combos, or it's a really good combo starter if your opponent misses a hit. S-tapping is only useful if you are not getting hit, meaning you have to be on the ground. If someone hits you while you S-tap, you are most likely going to be comboed almost immediately. Okay, next let's talk about mixing them, meaning doing them at the same time. I can't really recommend this, but it is good in a few scenarios. For instance, let's say I'm fighting a player that is mostly holding W and is not taking any KB at all. If I Wtap, I'm still trading with him. If I block it, I'm still trading with him. I can't get distance. The only logical thing to do is to put them both together and get the most possible distance I can from that player. That would be a way to nullify holding W. But that being said, holding W was just brought into the playing field. What is that? Holding W is simply as it sounds. You just hold W and you don't reset sprint. At the beginning of the tutorial, I said you do not want to spam reset sprint all the time. Like I said, people always focus on trying to deal KB to the other player. But instead, I want you to focus on the KB of both players, right? Because if you notice that they're dealing more KB to you than you are to them, all you have to do is stop reset sprinting for a hit or two and just hold W. Holding W is your only legit way to take less knockback. Just to recap, W tapping is better against low MS players, block hitting does better against high MS players, S tapping is obviously situational, and holding W is good for taking less KB. So what you want to do is you want to try to get used to timing all of these different methods, and then after you are able to do all of these, then you want to work on trying to use them in the correct scenarios. You will know you do it correctly when either you're in a trade or if you're comboing them. I just want to say whether you get comboed or not is completely up to you. It is your own error when you get comboed. It means you did something wrong, unless the other player is cheating. Okay, that is the end for this guide. Thank you all so much for watching. I have more guides planned, but before I start on another one, I'd like to know what I should teach you next. I want to make guides that you want to watch, so please give me feedback on how I can improve, and also what I could do next. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed this upload, or if you learned something. Feel free to dislike the video if you feel as if I could do something better. All feedback is genuinely appreciated. Subscribe and hit that bell for future uploads, and remember, you do you. Have a good day, good night. Peace out.